Hi guys, welcome back to the next episode of the SamDjanShow. Today we're looking at who will I cast as James Bond. So let's get into it. Welcome back to the next episode of the SamDjanShow. Today I'm looking at who I cast James Bond. So now I have 25 actors we want to see as James Bond. So No Time to Die marked the end of Daniel Craig's illustrious 5 from 10 years James Bond. Craig leaves the franchise in the best commercial shape it's ever been in. So what's up next? The billion. So what's up next? That's the $1 billion question. Before producer Barbara Broccoli, he's facing external pressure to cast the first person of color woman as the iconic secret agent. She's on the record that a female Bond is out of the question, but will she stick to that? We probably won't find out until 2022, but in the meantime, let's run through of hopeful and widely speculated as who will be the 7th official 007. Now, it says 2022, and I was officially 2023, so I think maybe 2024 we get who's going to be cast. Let's just get into it. So, Idris Elba. Idris Elba, he was in Luther, Spectre. He was in Hobbs and Shaw as well. A lot of people want Idris Elba. I think the problem with Idris, I just feel like he's a bit too old. Like he's how old is he? He's 50. So yeah, I feel like too. If it was 20, if it was like maybe 20 years ago, maybe around 2000, in the early 2000s, I could see it. But yeah, he was in the MCU. He was in the Thor movies. He played Heimdall. He was in the Suicide Squad as well. And he technically played James Bond in Luther, if we count Luther. But yeah, I would, if it was 20 years ago, I would say Idris Elba. Next I got Dev Patel. Now, Dev Patel, he was in Slumdog Millionaire. He was in Lion. He was also in he was recently in The Green Knight, and he was also played Anwar in Skins. He gets brought up like all the time. Like when it comes to casting James Bond or Batman or whatever, his name always gets popped. I feel like he's okay. I think probably his best role maybe Slumdog Millionaire, or maybe The Green Knight, but I don't see him as James Bond, to be honest. If they're gonna cast James Bond, it has to be someone at least in the 30. He's 33. He could pull it off, but I don't know. I don't see him as James Bond, to be honest. Adrian Lester, what's he been in? Adrian Lester. He's been in he's 54. No, he's too old. He's way too old. What's he been in? He was in he was in Spider-Man. He was in Deleted Scenes of Spider-Man 3. He was in Mary Queen of Scots. What else was he in? Case 39. I don't know, but to be honest, I don't know. I don't know. Like, he's 50. Yeah, that's the. Yeah, he's 50. Yeah, he's 54. He's too old. Tom Hiddleston. How old is Tom Hiddleston? Tom Hiddleston is 42. We probably know him as Loki. I feel like he's just too old. He's 42. I feel like, I don't know. All I've seen him is Loki. Like, he's done other stuff, but I don't know. If he plays James Bond, all I'll see is Loki. That's just the problem. Like when he's played a character this long, like he's played Loki since 2011, and if he plays James Bond, all I'll see is Loki. It's just I don't know. I don't know. Like, I feel like he's too old now. If it was maybe 10 years ago, maybe when he was in his 30s, maybe, but not right now. Richard Madden, his name gets popped up. He was in Bodyguard. He was in Game of Thrones. He was in Eternals. He played Icarus. Richard Madden is He's 30. Yeah, I can see him as James Bond. 36 is not bad. I can see it. I can see it. He might be my first pick. And yeah. So next we got James Norton. What's James Norton? James Norton is 37. To me, I don't see him as Bond. I see him like if he was to play a villain, I can see him playing a villain in the next Bond movie. Like if he was playing a villain, I could see it, but I don't see him as James. I see him as more like a villain. I don't really see him as like James Bond, but yes. But yeah, I wouldn't mind if they cast him as villain, to be honest. Then we got David Oye Oyelowo. He's 40. He's too old. He's 47. Tom Hardy. Uh, Tom Hardy was in the Venom movies. What else was he in? This Means War. He was in the Dark Star Trek Nemesis. Rock and Roller. He was in The Dark Knight Rises. Tom Hardy. I don't know. Like if it was, I don't know. He's 40. Yeah, he's 45. He's too. If it was 10 years ago, maybe I could see it, but I don't know. I feel like he's just too old. Henry Cavill. Yeah, this is one that always gets thrown around about. What's Henry Cavill? Can he play Bond? Technically, he played Bond in A Man from U.N.C.L.E. If you haven't seen that movie, he was in He was in Sherlock Holmes. He was in Sherlock Holmes 2, The Witcher. He plays Geralt of Rivia in The Witcher, and he also plays Superman in the DCEU. He's currently 40 years old. Yeah, he's 40. He's too old. If it was 10 years ago, like, if it was like 10 years ago when he was 30, I could see it. But yeah, he was actually in the running to play James Bond before it went to Daniel Craig. But yeah, if it was 10 years, if it was 30, like Man of Steel, like when he was casting, I could see it. Aidan Turner, who is Aidan Turner? He's in the Hobbit trilogy. Aidan Turner, I haven't heard of him. He's 39. I feel like he's a bit too old. Yeah, in June he would be 40, so now he's a bit too old. He has to be somebody who's in that third. Nicholas Hoult. Nicholas Hoult, I could see. You know Nicholas Hoult. He was in Skins. He played Tony. What else was he in? He was in The Grades. He was in Mad Max Heroes in the Menu. Renfield. He also played Beast in the X-Men movies, and he's also played Jack the Giant Slayer. He's 33. I could see him playing James Bond. Like he's in the running to play Lex Luthor, but I don't know. I mean, he can still play. I don't think Lex Luthor is gonna have a big part in my legacy, so I could see him maybe as James Bond. I'll have to wait and see. Michael Fassbender. Michael Fassbender is how old is he? He's 40. He's too old. If you know Michael Fassbender, he was in Assassin's Creed. He played he was in Prometheus. He also in Alien Covenant. He played Magneto in the X-Men movies. He's 46. He's still. If it was 10 years ago, maybe I could see it. But Harry Snell, I know. I know. I don't want Harry Snell. He can't act. He can't act for nothing. Like I saw him in Dunkirk. He wasn't good enough. I didn't like him in Eternals. He came in. I did not like him in Don't Worry, Darling. He was just not a good actor. So I don't want to see him in anything. So Luke Evans could be good. I can see him more playing a villain. For if he's taught, I can see him playing a villain. Dan Stevens. Not Dan Stevens. I can see him playing a villain. I don't see him as James. Orlando Bloom. Orlando Bloom is what 40. He's too old. Natalie, no. Rachel, I know. I don't want any. Yes, is it just Henry Golding? Yeah, Henry Golding gets popped up. He's 36. He was in Last Christmas, Crazy Rich Asians, Snake Eyes, Persuasion, The Gentleman, A Simple Favor. Henry Golding, I can see him as I can see him as I can see him as James Bond. So Henry Golding. What else? Robert Pattinson. No. Like, if he wasn't Batman, I could have seen it, but I feel like he's too busy with the Batman franchise that I don't think he'll have time to play James Bond. Like, if it was after, yeah, but if he waits off the trilogy, he would be 40 right now. I think he's 37 right now. Yeah, yeah. If Robert Pattinson wasn't Batman, I could see him be James Bond, but since he's Batman, I don't see it happening. Daniel Kaluuya. Daniel Kaluuya. He's 34. I could see him as James Bond. Well, it was in Get Out, no. Judas and the Black Messiah, Queen, Slim. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse and Black Panther. I can see him. I don't know. I liked him in Get Out. I can see him as James Bond. Brett Goldstein. Brett Goldstein. Now, I've seen him in Ted Lasso. Yeah, he's in Ted Lasso. He's in Shrinking. He's in Thor: Love and Thunder, Soulmate, Super Bob, Derek, and I can see him as James Bond. How old is he? He's 30. He's too old. He's 42. And that's pretty much it. Okay, my top picks would be Daniel Kaluuya, number 1. Number 2, I'll go with Henry Golding. Number 3, I would go with Nicholas Hoult, and number 4, I would go with Richard Madden, and then yeah, those are my 4 picks, and maybe Dev Patel number 5, but yeah, so they're my 5 picks who I think could play James Bond. So yeah, I think next year we'll find out who's played James Bond. We'll find out who plays James Bond. I think maybe 2024 they go production next movie. I don't know, but yeah. So guys, I want my videos for my next video. Bye.